To COSC 2436. This is Professor Serrano-Correa, and this is an orientation to the class. I'm just going to go through everything that's available here on the course and what you should be doing and how to get started. So every time you come into the class, you're always going to come to the announcements page. When I post announcements, the announcements go directly to the email that you've set up on eCampus. To check the email that you set up on eCampus, you're going to click on My DCCD, the top tab, top of your screen. You're going to click on Personal Information and edit personal information, and that has the email where all the email address where all the announcements will go to. Also, we have discussion boards in this class, and you're required to subscribe to one of the discussion boards. And when you subscribe to a discussion board, anytime anyone posts a discussion, it will alert you by sending you an email, and then it allows you to reply, which is how you get points for the discussion. Okay, and I'll talk more about the discussions in a little bit. So here under personal information, you can change personal information settings, personalize your settings. You can add a picture, which is nice because then on a discussion board, it shows your face. Okay, so under courses, go back to the course here. So the welcome announcement says that you have to begin by going to assignment 0, and assignment 0 is found under assignments. It contains the syllabus quiz and your resource materials. So anytime you go into an assignment, you always want to read the PDF provided. It's very important that you go through the PDF file because it has the exact instructions. So in this assignment 0, it gives you an overview of the time that's required for a 5-week course. And so basically, your class requires in the summer term about 16 hours per week, and sometimes even more. So try to schedule about 3 hours a day for this class. In this next section here, it talks about what I just went over and how to get to personal information, so you can check your email address. Then it tells you to print the course schedule. I'll show you where that is. Check your email address, go to the discussion board and introduce yourselves, and also reply to somebody else's introduction. You're going to print the syllabus, read it, and take the syllabus quiz. Make sure that you have your C++ compiler set up. If you took COSC 1436 or 1437 using C++, then you will set you already have your compiler set up. And then once you set up your compiler, then you're done with assignment 0, and you can move on to chapter 9 in your book. So in your book, we start with chapter 9. If you haven't taken a C++ class before, chapters 1 through 8 show you the syntax. But if you've taken Java or Swift, you'll notice that it looks a lot like C++, and you'll be very familiar with the syntax, especially with Java. But you can go back to chapters 1 through 9 in your book so that you can reference and make sure that you understand how to do some of the things in C++. Okay, so we're going to go back here to assignment 0. So at first it says to print the syllabus, and here's the syllabus right here. So you'll print that, and then once you print that, you'll take the quiz, and you want to then download the student resource materials. This is really nice. It has all the program examples in your book. So if you see a program that you would like to run and test to see how it works, you can just pull it up from the zip file. Also, if you see a program that has a lot of the things that you might need for an assignment, you can grab that program and edit the program, modify it. If you are a Mac user, you're going to be using Xcode. If you are a Windows user, you have many choices. You can use Dev C++, you can use code blocks. There's also Microsoft has its compiler that you can use. Maybe you have that already set up. So for C++, you have a lot of different options, and it really doesn't matter what you use, just that you have a C++ compiler. So if you've used something else, I just put these two on here because those are pretty popular. And CodeBlock seems to be the easier one to install. For some reason, some people have problems with Dev C++ if they're using Windows 10 or higher. So going back to, oops, let's not go back to the syllabus. Okay, so notice that when I click on a button, I can go back to the page that I was, or back to the window that I was in by just clicking the back button over here on the top on the browser, and it doesn't mess anything up. Okay, on their book, this is the book that's required for the class, and here's a link. This is the publisher of the book, Cengage.com. So here you'll notice you can, if you go over here to the top where it says textbook/ebook, you can have access to the book until November 4th for $25 or January for $28. You can rent a print book. You don't want to buy a paperback book from Cengage because it's really expensive, but you could probably find the book on Amazon pretty cheap. So I would try that. Okay? If you want the print book. If you want the ebook, you can get it instantly and not pay very much for it. And I have used both the ebook and the print book, and I like both of them. To tell you the truth, the ebook is really nice and convenient because I can be anywhere and look at it and read it. It's nice if you have, let's say, your computer and some other device that you can look at the book, like a tablet. That way you don't have to toggle between windows, but it's okay even if you have to toggle. All right, so going back to the syllabus, let's just take a look at the syllabus. This number here, here's my email address. Actually, it's Correa or the GMS 3522. They both go to the same box. GMS, the G Correa is just an alias for GMS 3522, so it doesn't matter which one you use. This phone number goes to the department's instructional associate, and her name is Marion, and Marion is amazing. She's awesome. She's on campus Monday through Friday, and you can call and leave her a message. If you, for example, are needing to go to the lab and use a book or use the software, Marion can double check to make sure that the book is there for you to use in the lab and that we have the software that you need. This number is important. This number here is the number you want to call if you have issues with Blackboard, with eCampus. Okay, so Marion cannot help you with eCampus, but these people can. I use this number myself, and it does go to a person. They help you right away, so don't hesitate to call that number if you have an issue. The lab at Cedar Valley College is in A206, so building A, room 206. Again, here's the required materials. So all you really need to pay for is the book because the software is free. This is just an outline of the chapters that we are going to cover. The actual course schedule is on Blackboard, and I'll show you that in a little bit. In the class, we're going to have 11 programming lab assignments, 11 quizzes. The quizzes are multiple choice, 4 discussion boards, and a midterm and a final, which are also multiple choice, and the questions come from these quizzes here. The grading scale is a typical grading scale, 900 to 1,000 points is an A, and so forth, so on and so forth. I do deduct 1 point off for each day that an assignment is late. If you submit an assignment on time, I allow for you to submit corrections, but your corrections will have a point deduction for number of days late. I want to stress that you are required to submit an original solution to the assignments. You can help each other debug a program, but you cannot have the same solutions for the same programs. I want you to think about when you write an English paper, an essay, okay? If you copy the same essay and you just change a few words like the location and the people's names, somebody can tell that it's the same essay. It's the same thing with me. I can look at a program and I can tell by the style, by the way that it was written. If I start seeing the same thing over and over again, I'm like, oh yeah, I've saw that before. So make sure you don't copy anybody's work. Make sure your work is original. Otherwise, you do receive a 0 for that assignment, and you cannot redo the assignment. So make sure it's your original work. Okay, so the programming labs, the assignments section of your course contains the lab assignments from your book. All the lab assignments come from the book. And I do have in the PDF file, I do have extra explanations sometimes to make sure that the assignment is clear. For each chapter, you have 20 short exercises to solve for your chapter quizzes, like debugging or writing a small part of the program or writing an algorithm. And then we have the discussion boards, and then you have 2 exams. Okay, that's all on here. And here's the course schedule. So make sure that you follow the course schedule because I do deduct late points. So we are going to cover chapter 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way through 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 chapters. Okay? Now, if you look here on the right hand side, it says discussion boards, midterm exam, final exam. Even though the final exam and the midterms have a due date, I do have those open the entire semester, summer session, and I don't close them. There's no late penalty. I just want to make sure you take your exam, your midterm, after you're done with chapter 13. I'm sorry, after chapter 14, because it's going to cover all this on the midterm. And I want to make sure you're ready for it. On the discussions, discussion 1 is about UML. You'll get to research what that is. Discussion 2 is a discussion that I want you to post as soon as you can post to it. It says use this discussion to post things you have learned that you think other students will benefit from and questions that you have about the labs or the compiler. To receive credit for this discussion, you will need to subscribe to the discussion and help your fellow students by answering questions and posting. So discussion 2, you can post at any time. It can be the first day of class, it can be the second, the third, the ninth, but don't wait till the very, very end of class, okay? Because you're trying to help each other. So I want to encourage you to post questions, and I want to encourage you to help students by answering questions. And that's how you'll get credit. So for discussion 2, it needs to be done, at least by the 4th week of a summer session, or probably the 14th or 15th week of a regular semester. Okay, so back to the course schedule. Down here it says the exams and quizzes are open. For this session here is the very last day of school. You can take the exams and quizzes anytime during the semester. You may submit corrections if an assignment is submitted on time. If it's late, I don't allow corrections. Corrections are averaged within the original grade, so the corrections will receive late penalty points, and then I average the grade. So for example, if you got a 40, a 40 the first time and a 50 the second time, then it averages to a 45. Okay. Corrections, there's a 1-point penalty per day on late assignments, no late points on exams and quizzes. You may not collaborate with other students or copy solutions from the internet. This is another important thing that students do, is copy from the internet. Don't do that, because I've seen all the solutions and it's easy for me to see that it's been copied because I've seen that solution before. Any assignments copied or similar to other students' solution will receive a grade of 0. And that assignment cannot be resubmitted. So please do not ask. You cannot resubmit the assignment. The drop date for this class is June the 30th, and certification date is, July the 30th, and certification date is July the 11th. Certification is for students on financial aid. By 7/11, you need to make sure that you've completed everything through Lab 1 to receive, for me to certify that you've attended the class. Okay, so you need to complete Quiz 0, Quiz 1, and Lab 1. Okay, let's take a look at the assignments. We looked at the start here, assignment 0. Let's just take a look at the very first lab, which is records. By the way, I'm working, you'll notice that these are grayed out. So this summer session, I'm working on updating all of these. So I'm just slowly opening them up and updating the assignments and updating the videos that I provide. All the videos for this class just come from the internet. I just try to find good videos that will help you understand the material in the chapter. So one way that you can approach the class is you can read the chapter, watch the video, take notes from the video, take notes from the chapter. Some students like to watch the video first, take notes. Depends if you're an auditory learner, visual learner. Some people like to see and hear the information, so they really like the videos. That helps them understand, and then when they read the information, they actually understand it. Some students cannot start by reading first. It depends on how you learn, but the key is to make sure that you take notes just as if you were in a classroom. Anytime you go into a lab assignment, you're going to click on the PDF file. This one says Lab 1 Structures Records PDF, and that is going to tell you what you have to do for the assignment. So you're going to get an overview of what you're going to learn, the objectives for the chapter, and the assignment. So here it says, here we go. Read the chapter, view the lecture video, complete the quiz. I have here complete the quiz in step 3. I actually think it's probably a better idea if you complete the quiz last, because you're going to learn a lot by completing the lab assignment. So you can leave that till last. So for this very first lab assignment, you're completing exercise 2 on page 646. And I give you some information like use the data file provided to read from the file. You're going to be reading from a file. If you've forgotten how to do that, you can go back to the previous chapter. Can't remember if it's 7 or 8, and it tells you how to read from the file. Remember, you have all the programs that are in your book, so you can take one of the programs, play with it, and refresh your memory on how to read from a file with C++. Or if you haven't done it with C++, then you'll have a program that you can use. You're going to output the information to the screen. It tells you what you have to do here. And then, and I won't go over it because it won't make sense unless you look at the actual problem. But what I want to point out is that for all the programs in this class, you have to take a screenshot of your output. So you have to show me that you've tested your program. And I want you to show me, if you have to actually enter information, then show me different test scenarios. Okay? So you're always going to include the CPP file and the screenshot for each assignment. Some lab assignments only have 1 exercise. Some lab assignments have 2 exercises or 3 exercises. I also ask that you put everything into a folder, and then you name the folder with your last name, first initial, lab number, and then you compress that folder and upload it. And if you have questions on how to do this part, please do not hesitate to ask me by sending me an email. Make sure when you email me that you have the class number, COSC2436, because I do teach another class, a Java class, this summer, session 2. Okay, so this video talks about on how to use records. This is actually, if you took COSC1436 using C++, this we read from a file, we used records, so this is a review. And on the quiz here is just telling you that you have, when you start a quiz, you have to finish it. You can't pause it. Quizzes are not timed. Okay, so to look at your grades once you submit something, you're going to go to the grade book. So you'll click on here. Let me go like that. Okay, so I'm going to click on grade book. And oh goodness, I need to take all these things off. So the grade book is going to be here under my grades. And you'll click on that. And then, for example, once you get a grade for something, it's going to show here on the right hand side. And Also, if there's feedback for an assignment, so if you make less than a 50 on a lab assignment, I will give you some feedback and you'll see the feedback. There's going to be a little bubble as feedback. Okay. Once again, if you have any questions, just send me an email. Please make sure you include the class number and you include your name. I need your first and last name as it appears on Blackboard. It makes things so much easier. Okay? Wish you luck in the class. Have a great summer session. Thank you.